charming little park that we have around the castle is such a great place to come and go from the chaos and the noise of the city, of the world, into a place of peace, a place of silence and recollection.
Father Michael, we're here under the wings of St. Michael the Archangel. He's your patron saint?
That's right, I'm a big fan. It's an incredible structure. It is quite imposing and has such a long history because it started out as a mausoleum, a burial place for Hadrian, right, in the 2nd century AD. And he thought he was going to be remembered forever, but people started to forget about him, and it's said that sometimes they broke up pieces of his statue and throw it over the edge of the fortress to basically use as a weapon against invaders. And so over time, it started to be used more by the church as the church took control and guidance of the city after the fall of the Roman Empire. And it's probably most famous for the sack of Rome in 1527, when Clement VII was rushed all the way from his apartments down this passageway into Castel Sant'Angelo. And so it's a structure that's seen so much history. There was an appearance of the angel over top the structure back in the pontificate of Pope Gregory the Great, when he was processing through the city in a time of plague, begging for God's mercy and forgiveness. And so that's really why it's...
And that announced also the end of the plague, I believe, right?
Right, so it's also commemorated now as the Castle of the Angel, precisely because of that vision.
Isn't there also this metaphor of a castle aimed at a life of prayer?
Yeah, so Santa Teresa of Avila, the great Spanish mystic, has this masterpiece called the Interior Castle. And this area, this charming little park that we have around the castle, is such a great place to come and experience the interior castle. Basically, to go from the chaos and the noise of the city, of the world, into a place of peace, a place of silence and recollection. We also have this beautiful statue near Castel Sant'Angelo of St. Catherine of Siena, who talked about making a cell or a place of prayer in your heart. So she was an incredibly active woman who was guiding popes and kings and princes, but who always found time to retreat into herself in a busy schedule, in a noisy world, to be with the Lord.
Isn't that search for silence, the search for an inner retreat also especially important at the time of Lent if we want to prepare ourselves for Easter?
Yeah, I think Lent is the annual retreat of the Church. It's Holy Mother Church saying, slow down, take a break, step back from your usual routine, and dedicate more time to prayer and silence. And you won't regret it.
How do you do that?
Well, I love to start my day with a holy hour. I find that just brings me incredible light and peace and strength. And it does not magically solve all of my problems, but it lets me bring those problems to the Lord, and it lets me carry those crosses with Him. And it brings me such strength and guidance to begin my day like that each day. So if you can make a holy hour, if you can spend an hour of personal prayer with our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament, that's tremendous. But if you're not there yet, don't worry. Start with 5 minutes, and then get to 10, and then 15, and then 30. Don't treat it as a burden or an obligation. Treat it as a gift, a source of strength. At least in my own experience, when I first started praying before the Blessed Sacrament in silence, it was hard to get through 10 minutes. But after a while, I found myself craving and needing more time. I needed 30 minutes. If you can get to a church, if you can be in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament, that's tremendous. But if it's hard to get to a church, if they're all locked, or if your work schedule does not permit it, then find a beautiful place like this park, because we can always carve out those moments to enter into our interior castle, into the cell of our soul.
So find an interior castle, enter into the cell of our souls, and take time for the Lord in silence. I think that's a beautiful spiritual espresso today.
Thank you. I'll drink to that.